A ticket and there's no turning back now. Round and around like a horse on a carousel. We go.
Story time. When I was in kindergarten, after lunch we always had nap times, and after them we always had to do work. My lazy ass never wanted to do work, so I came up with the idea of pretending like I was sleeping after everyone woke up. The teachers always let the kids sleep in, so it worked out perfectly. So then nap time came and put my plan into action. After everyone woke up, I remained on the floor pretending I was sleeping. After about 2 hours of pretending I was sleeping, I actually fell asleep. The next thing I knew was when I woke up I was in the hospital. I didn't know what happened. I sat up and my mom was sitting by my bed. When she saw me awake, she started crying and called for a doctor. Apparently what happened was one of the kids, probably the freckled bitch in my class, leaned back on her chair and fell backwards and fell with a metal chair on my head, and I didn't wake up, so they called 911. And that bitch put me in a coma. I was in a coma for 2 weeks.
Story time. So this was 2 years ago, and I was at school, and it was a normal day until the principal went on the speaker and said, "We're in lockdown, go in your closets." So we went ahead and went in the closets. We were all confused. Some people were scared. Everyone was like kind of asking the teacher what was going on and stuff. Now during this time, I wasn't asking anything or saying anything because I knew during a lockdown you don't want to say anything. So if there is someone in the school, they won't find where you are. But I was still listening to them because I was curious like everyone else. So while everyone was asking the questions, one girl stood up and said, "If you're not going to say what's going on, I'm going to get out of the closet." The teacher yelled at her and told her no. And the teacher yelled loud, so whoever was in the school obviously heard. So the door opened and everyone became silent. And so basically, for part 2. Welcome to part 2. Okay, so the guy that came into our school was a prisoner that escaped prison. So he was like, "Where are you?" And he stood in there for at least 10 minutes. Then we thought he left, but he was completely silent, and the teacher gave us a look saying, "Do not talk and do not move." So we all listened to the way he looked, and my best friend, the girl that stood up saying she would leave, got up and left. She thought that the guy was gone and she was going to get a counselor. So as soon as she got out of the room, we heard gunshots. As soon as the gunshots said that, I knew immediately what happened. I started crying, and I thought that she was dead. The guy didn't even try to come in the room that we were in, even though he knew where we were. He immediately left, knowing that he should have not shot the girl. Wait for part 3. Welcome to part 3. So as soon as the guy left, we got out of the closet and started panicking. We didn't know what to do since she was shot in the head, and we knew that she wouldn't make it. So we were all freaking out, and so was I, and I was crying, and I just couldn't breathe right, and I didn't know what to do. The speaker went off saying that the police and the ambulance were coming since the principal heard a gunshot too. So when the police came, they found the guy who was hiding in a locker, and he got contained and taken to the police office. The ambulance were here and went in the room and took her. They said with their face, saying she would not make it. That was the worst day of my life. So the ambulance took her, and about 2 days later, we weren't allowed to go to the school since the guy was still on the loose. He escaped. So we all had to stay at our homes, and I visited my friend, and I didn't know she died. That was it.
Once my brother was playing Minecraft. An hour later he told me that he got a Minecraft girlfriend. I was surprised because I got a Minecraft boyfriend that day too. I was happy for him. My brother kept chatting with his girlfriend and I kept chatting with my boyfriend. We were chatting with them for days and days. Me and my boyfriend would make out in Minecraft. Smirking face. A few days later my mom told my brother to stop playing Minecraft because he was failing every class. Even English. Literally the language he speaks. But I noticed that ever since my brother stopped playing, my boyfriend stopped playing too. I thought it was a coincidence, so I didn't think much of it. My boyfriend didn't play for over a month, so I decided to just cheat on him. But then he joined me and he saw me cheat. We got in a huge fight and I blocked him. But then I heard my brother crying in his room saying he broke up with his Minecraft girlfriend. I told him I broke up with my Minecraft boyfriend too.
So I was sitting in the cafeteria when these two girls walk up to me. They kept complimenting me. And I was so confused because these were the most popular girls in the school, so after they kept saying how pretty I finally asked them what they wanted. And one of the girls named Gabby told me I'm invited to her birthday party that was later that day. I was so happy, so I kindly accepted. Later that day the girl who invited me sent me her address, so when it was time I got my mom to drop me off there. I walked up to the door, and knocked a couple times and nobody answered so. I waited for almost an hour and realized no one lived there. I was so angry now, because it started raining outside and I had no way to get home, because my mom was on a dinner date, and I had told her to come get me at 8 p.m. and then it was 4 p.m. So I started to walk home, and the whole way I was crying. So the next day in the cafeteria Gabby and 3 other girls walked up to me laughing, and Gabby asked me where I was, because I quote-unquote missed the party, and I told her that I was sent the wrong address I think. Then she said, oops lol, sorry, guess I sent you the wrong address, but look on the outside, at least we didn't have someone ugly to drive all the boys away at my party. So I rolled my eyes at her, because I wasn't trying to cause a problem, when I guess one of Gabby's friends handed her a milk carton, and she poured it on me, and that's when I bolted up, grabbed her by the hair, and started rocking her shit.
Story time of how I burned down my entire house when I was 8 years old. So basically, we had so many candles in the house, I guess just because my mom was obsessed with candles. I was also obsessed with fire. So every time I seen the candle, I would put my finger in the fire. And no, it didn't hurt me whatsoever. I guess it was just amusing to me. And everybody called me a pyro. So one day I was scrolling on Musical.ly, and on like the Feature Me page, I saw something with a candle. And it was like how to make your own candle or something like that. But you had to make your own candle out of a candle. So I went into my room and I closed my door, and like the first step was melting the candle all the way. So I lit the candle and then I put a piece of paper in there. I don't know why I did, but I did. And the fire started getting so big, so I lifted the piece of paper and I threw it on my rug. And I didn't want to get in trouble for fire on the floor, so I just left my room and left it alone. And I kid you not, just a couple minutes later I hear the smoke detector going off. And my older brother screaming. I'm running out of time like for part 2. Part 2 of how I burned down my entire house at just 8 years old. So continuing on with the story, after I hear the smoke alarms going off and my brother screaming, I knew exactly what I did. And I blamed it all on my brother. And to this day, they still think it's my brother. Even though it was in my room, but my family believed whatever I said. Anyways, the whole backside of the house was on fire, and we all rush out of the house. And of course, my mom takes care of it. I'm pretty sure she called 911. Well, duh. Sadly, our 2 cats, 2 bunnies, and 4 hamsters were in the house. And our bird, but our bird was getting ready to pass anyways. I'm not sure how, but the house caught on fire so quickly, and the entire thing just blew up into flames. There might have been something else that the fire triggered to make it more big, I guess. I don't really know how to word that. But we ended up raising enough money to move to a different house because we lost every single one of our belongings. When the house burned down, there was only one wall standing, and it was the wall of pictures of my grandma who passed 10 years ago.
One thing I learned is when cops show up to a party, do not hesitate to run. There was a group of kids that stayed hiding in the basement. They hid in a closet, they hid in just like under the couch and rooms and shit. And then there was another group of kids who ran out the back door. Me and my buddy were a part of that group. So we're all running like a free-for-all, and this kid's backyard is just straight wilderness. Me and my buddy end up getting separated, and I'm fucked because my phone is dead. We gotta be at least like a quarter mile into the fucking forest by now, so I'm freaking out. I need to find my buddy. We need to meet up and do what his dad told us to do. So I'm standing all alone in the woods, and I just start screaming, Gary! A few seconds goes by. I hear my buddy scream from a distance, Gio! So we keep screaming like that until we eventually find each other. And my buddy was just with 2 random girls that we like didn't even know. They were staying by him because they were scared and they didn't know where to go. So now it's time to execute the plan his dad told us to do if shit went wrong. My buddy picks up. We look to our left and see like 20 kids with the cops just all getting booked, dude. So I just look at my buddy. I'm like, dude, don't even look at the police. Let's just walk. We straight up just walk down this gravel driveway past all these cops, past all these kids getting arrested. And we literally just get in my buddy's car. I'll never forget. His mom was sitting in the front seat and his mom was like, Gary, where's your sweatshirt? And my buddy was just like, it's in the basement. And his mom told him to go get it. And his dad was driving and his dad was just like, fuck that, floored it out of there.